Hey Unforgotten fans, welcome back to the channel. So Tripwire Interactive invited us to check out their panel for Killing Floor 3, which is their upcoming title. If you haven't played the Killing Floor games, it's a PvE horror FPS series where you fight waves of monsters until you die. This marks the third game in the series, and we're fortunate enough for Tripwire to grant us VIP seats so we can sit front row with them. Here's a few highlights from the panel. If you want to watch the full thing, it'll be on Tripwire's YouTube channel. If you guys want us to play Killing Floor 3 on this channel, drop a comment and we'll be glad to do some runs of this. Don't forget to like and sub, and enjoy the panel, everyone.
And some design elements within Killing Floor 3. So I'm going to pass it over to Trent here, and he's going to fire up this deck, and we'll start to go through it. So quick introduction. My name is Brian Wanya, and I'm Tripwire's Studio Creative Director.
My name is Chris Goodwin. I'm the lead level designer.
I'm Jared Creasy, Senior Community Manager at Tripwire. You might know me better online as Yoshiro if you hang out in our Discord or various forums. Hello.
And I'm Trent Mendoza. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Tripwire. It's been a little bit since we've had Killing Floor PAX, so we're super excited to give you a sneak peek behind the curtain here.
When we started Killing Floor 3, we were basically talking about if we go post-apocalyptic, that will kind of feed into some of those zombie tropes that might be too much for what we want to do. So we asked ourselves the question of what would happen if Horizon only grew in power over time? Basically, like, what would happen if, like, Walt Disney companies started making Zeds and monsters, right? So they're manufacturing our food, they're manufacturing our cities, they're manufacturing, you know, monsters as well. And we just don't really talk about that part. If there's an outbreak, don't worry, we just kind of clean everything up. So let's dig a little bit deeper into dystopia in Killing Floor 3. So everything starts with inspiration. I'm going to date myself as a very nerdy 42-year-old horror fan. If you guys haven't seen a lot of these movies on here, I highly suggest it. One of the things that we very first started was I came to Chris and his team and was like, I would love to fight Zeds in a sewer. And it was Corey, I believe?
Yeah, our principal LD.
Yeah, Corey, who's also a member from the modding community that joined Tripwire. He wrote up just this really simple brief that kind of became the starting off point while I just got to watch horror movies. Sorry, Matt. There was a day that my kids were like, do you just watch movies? Are you homesick? I'm like, it's my job, leave me alone. So I highly suggest watching Chud. We won't go into any details, but it is my fan theory that that is a prequel to Home Alone. I'll let you figure that out. Thing to ingest video games and movies and pop culture and all these items, but how do we make it our own? How are we not just making Mimic, or how are we not just making Chud, right? So we start looking at real world references. This goes for our maps, this goes for our Zeds, this goes for weapons, right? Like, for example, the crawler is a combination of a lot of arachnid. All right, and even if you like look at close-up elements of it, like teeth, inspiration for the teeth on the crawler actually came from X-rays from adolescents, because a lot of kids, you know, if you look at their X-rays, they basically have multiple rows of teeth. So those are kind of creepy. This one is a pretty cool element of taking that reference, taking that inspiration to kind of culminate into one of the ultimate things. This is one of our vistas. Vistas are a space that kind of help communicate where you're at and what's going on. If you're a fan of KF2, Burning Paris, and you look out and you see the Eiffel Tower burning, really good example of a vista. So for KF3, being in these sewers, kind of communicating that inspiration of the Japanese sewer water system. There is a new system, or a new element, I would say, with inside Killing Floor 3 called the Mire. I won't go into it. I want to pass the mic to Chris now and talk a little bit in detail about level design.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. This is a really special honor for me to be here at this time and doing this, because the last time I attended PAX was back in, I believe it was 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And I was sitting out in the audience at that time. I came from the community as a mapper. I got involved in some of the mapping contests. I got my roots back with KF1, made probably a dozen maps for KF1, as many or more with KF2. And what we've got here, this picture, is me doing a Foster with Alan Wilson, one of the...
Is that who that old man is?
Yeah, always the popular popular character.
You're fans of Tripwire, many of you.
Some of the level design. So what we've got here is a block-out image of the map Sewers. This is the map that we've been showcasing here with these slides today. And what we've got here is a bird's eye view in what we would call gray box or white box. Early development of the maps. It's going to have very little detail, very little lighting, and it's just enough to convey what the general shapes and area are. All the gameplay is developed in this space and tested and iterated on until the team feels satisfied that we have good gameplay, and from that point forward it would then pass on to other departments to start giving it all of the poop water and
making that pretty disgusting, awful-looking poop water.
When we prototype in those early stages, we were working at home like during COVID, and my daughters just thought I was playing like Roblox for like 7 hours a day. And then when they saw it look like this, they're like, "What happened to the game now?"
Yeah. So speaking of which, here's our segue into this is a much more recent shot of the sewers. This is what it would look like. This is an in-game shot taken from it, and just to give you guys an idea of kind of what exists behind the scenes, here's some screenshots of the actors that are hidden that we work with in the Unreal 5 engine. So we have a bunch of different views here. There's a lot of actors. Some of what we've got is collision volumes that prevent the players from getting out of bounds. They also keep the Zeds contained, if that can be done. And then we've also got the green nav mesh with a system called Havoc, and that controls where the Zeds can and cannot go, as well as the crawler navigation on walls.
Yeah, Chris and his team really have to think about a lot of super complex systems to make a play space. It's not literally just like playing with Legos and building an area and be like, all right, go. This work and with the team of our, with the help of our AI team is why crawlers can finally crawl on walls. I know that's something that you guys have wanted for a really long time. It was one of the first endeavors for having Zeds navigate, and then it led into other elements like having the husk have the ability to fly now. We'll talk a little bit more about Zed navigation in a moment, but you can thank this guy when you have crawlers crawling over your head, and our AI team for, we call it the cone of danger. In KF1 and 2, the cone of danger, like a lot of Zeds are along the same kind of head height, so you can kind of strafe side to side and shoot Zeds. Well, you're going to really have to keep your head on a swivel now because Zeds can attack you from almost every angle. The cone of danger is large.
Okay, what we've got here is an example of how we've evolved some of our gameplay. One of the things with level design is what can we do to push the player? What can we do to change the environment? How can we, especially with Killing Floor, there's kind of the nature of repetition of you play the same map and you go through it and you continue going wave through wave. And we really wanted to see, while that is a good formula, how we could update that and upgrade that and add some dynamic elements. So what we've got here is destructible walls.
Some things start really simple too, like if your guys are making your own games or whatnot, like doors, just a simple door can provide hundreds of questions and challenges. How does the player open the door? Who else can go through the door? Can I open this door? Can you lock that door? One of the challenges that we always had in previous games was Zed's height were determined by spaces, and in particular doorways. So we just got to a point really early on, because I really wanted the Fleshbound to be the tallest classic returning Zed. And then the Impaler was something that I've been thinking about for a long time, where it's like Hordzine's newest thing. It's basically
because the Zeds haven't opened up a way for you. So there are parts to sewers that you can't access until the Zeds Kool-Aid Man moment you, which is coin term, feel free to use it. And all of a sudden, like, not only is there surprise, you look behind where you came from, you're like, oh, that's a new place, I can go there, there's something for me to experience there. And in fact, one of my favorite holdout spots is in this map behind one of those walls.
A bunch of different classes that deal with either short range, medium range, long range, and we want to give all of the players an opportunity to be effective in the battlefield. Highlighted in the kind of like red around the perimeter of this image, we have different access points for Zeds. We've got the one with the crosshairs, or the crosshatches rather, where that's a breakable wall. Large Zeds are going to be able to bust in through that, which will change the play space drastically. We've got a trader pod in the middle. And then what we've got highlighted in yellow there is one of our multi-tool traps. A personal favorite of mine, just a giant fan. And you turn it on and it makes chopped Zeds. very quickly. So we've got kind of a control of choke points happening here.
A lot of money to go to art school, and I think we can all agree it paid off.
Yeah.
That might be the best image ever. But in all seriousness, I think Trent has like a file, or a folder just full of like hundreds of these, where they are just simple snipping tools that I grab while we're playtesting. And collaboration is a massive part not only of Killing Floor 3, but Tripwire, how we develop games as a team. So it's like, we'll have good ideas, we'll have bad ideas, and as a team we got to be able to talk about it. So this was like a really early idea of, this space is really reminding me of Aliens, so maybe we can have elements where there's like these researchers that crawlers have kind of cocooned in this area and stuff like that. We're testing the space, we're blocking out the space, and that we need to start adding that art, that poop water, as we will say. Dude, Sandy, HR back home, is like, you've got to stop saying this. This is a public place. But yeah, our team has been looking at some really awesome stuff, making some very gross stuff as well. Misty, our lead environment artist, and AK, our art director, they have just done a fantastic job of capturing Huck Hobbs images, and kind of like, when you're in this space, you can kind of feel the moisture and the dampness. I literally just got a message like before this meeting started as well, where Ed, our audio engineer, there is a chance that if you're exploring this space that you can hear someone mumbling and like screaming and asking for help underneath that pile of bodies in the middle. So thank you, Ed. That was a very fun, twisted moment.
I was going to say, speaking of people I don't want to thank again, like that other video you showed me, but we may share with the community later, may make you not want to have mustard for a while.
Yeah, there was a lot of mustard used to make monster sounds, so you're not going to want mustard again.
I don't like mustard.
Environmental storytelling. So lore is definitely a part that is growing in Killing that we really enjoyed. We hid Rosie, who was one of the apex predators or bosses inside Maneater. I guess we're confirming that those two worlds exist with each other now, that somehow Rosie ended up in a Japanese sewer system. Not only are some Easter eggs visible, but there's also Easter eggs that you can hear as well. So Rocky Gray and Mark Moraski are audio and composers. They've done a fantastic job of layering the world with awesome new music, some returning KF2 music as well. But there's also this element where you can take the music slider and just turn it down, and like when you're between waves, instead of skipping that wave, go explore, go work on your assignments, and the audio that you'll hear, it definitely adds to that kind of horror survival element, and Ed has hid quite a few audio little Easter eggs that you guys might remember from some of the past. Kind of becomes this building, a map, you kind of see where it started, and then you see where it ends up. And it's really cool because you can see as we play test things that worked, things that didn't work. Like I think you're gonna see here in a second, there's like in the middle of one of the holdout rooms, yeah, like right there, we put a turret and there was like a table that you could jump on. But it ended up really like bogging the player down. So it's like, let's just blow this space out and give more room for players to kind of navigate. You see that trap that went from a steam one to now it's got a series of pipes that kind of carry some of that gross, disgusting, toxic water that when you use a multi-tool, it will overload that machine, it'll heat up and explode, and then that slime will basically melt. I think I literally got a video yesterday just showing updated slime from Santiago of just like, there's like more slime, more! And now there's just like gallons of it pouring out, so thank you for that. But yeah, it's always a really satisfying experience as a developer and as a creator to have a really loose idea and then work with a group of people to make this a reality where you guys get to fight Zeds in these spaces. I will warn you that you will die a lot in this map. It is very claustrophobic. I highly suggest using your flashlight. It is by far my favorite map. It's the most recent map that we've done as well. So you can see here our capture artist Tiago is playtesting, seeing how all of these things that we've talked about come together for what is your guys' experience as players. You guys are not only witnessing sewers being playtested, but you're seeing new Zed behaviors. You're seeing new animations for not only the weapons, but for Zeds as well. show you in a minute a cool way that you can utilize it to work in your favor as well. Also, please always just punch crawlers in the face. Bill Monk, one of the original founders of Killing Floor, you can see he's added back in where like Zed will be reaching for their missing heads. But this moment right here, you're going to see basically a Scrake and a Fleshbound pressuring Tiago, some other trash Zed get in the way, and that's when the Scrake hit that fist with it and just exploded. So you kind of like have that balance there. Sorry, I'm not really sure what's going on with the feed. We'll get that taken care of there. Trent, do you mind checking that out? Maybe a streaming issue coming up? Or is the Fleshbound literally just hitting us that hard? Okay. I don't think we're supposed to show that.
Yeah, that's not supposed to be here.
It says do not show at PAX East. Sorry, we'll try to get it figured out, but what are NDAs and how do those work? You guys are the first people to see this, by the way, so sorry, maybe? We'll get that fixed. Let's do this.
And use your flashlight. Let's do a no flashlight run.
There you go. By the way, it's no pressure playing the game in front of a room full of people. That's like, not single headshots, please.
Yep.
You got this, Jared.
One of the things I love about this map is we talked about play spaces. And knowing your play spaces is key. So one of the first things I like to do is make sure I have additional places to move around, such as this particular room. I get rid of this more fast on my trail.
Gorefast have kind of changed pretty dramatically, where almost think of them as like velociraptors, where they kind of hunt in packs, and if you stray away from the team, you all of a sudden be like, why are there like an excessive number of Gorefast hunting me? They will basically look and hunt for the outlier. So when you're playing with your friends, definitely try to stick with each other.
Hurry in the gate, mate.
So this is something that's pretty new. Like if you guys saw the beta, we tried some stuff with Z time and it wasn't working, right? So we heard you guys' feedback and we're basically kind of returning, but then amplifying what are the things about Z time that we've always enjoyed. So those high frame rate weapon animations, really slowing the combat down and letting that gore stand forward. It's been really nice because we have a update to our meat system, massive evisceration and trauma. Meat 2.0, you can actually see heads like flower open. You can burn Zed where you literally see them and their skin charring. You can punch holes in different parts of their body. So the kind of reimagining of Zed time is really allowing that gore to stand out. There's also been a massive update. Jeremy, our lead technical artist, has really pushed Persistent Blood since the last time you guys have seen it. That poor guy has watched some rough videos. So a moment of silence for Jeremy. He's a little bit more passive, still out to kill you, but when he turns red, he's enraged. I believe the Scrake has the ability to enrage other enemies around him and kind of like target and pick a character as well. The Bloat, who will literally like inflate this kind of like back sack. Yes, that's a word that I just used publicly. There'll be these glowing pustules on it that if you shoot those, it really helps take him down faster. So if you're low on ammo, you don't have a ton of resources, make sure to prioritize those critical zones to kind of like take Zeds down the fastest way possible.
Better ready.
That clock ruined my plan to combo that Scrake.
Dr. Hook.
Yeah. There we go. Stumble finally.
So one of the things about executions in Killing Floor 3, yeah, it's one thing to smash his face into his own chainsaw. Try to utilize that when other Zeds are around, because when you basically can execute the Fleshbound and the Scrake, when you execute those big Zeds, you're basically sending their kind of like system inside of them into overdrive, and when they explode explode, they will kill other Zeds as well. I also believe you get a little extra dosh. There is a bow and arrow, and there's a mod that has explosive tip. Yes, we watched Rambo 3 like multiple times and dissected that guy exploding from an explosive arrow. It is as awesome as you remember. We put explosive arrows in the game, and they are wildly fun to use.
Hey, look.
There it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is that area that Jared was talking about earlier, and I would definitely say like Corey and Chris and that team this is the most recent map. Like when I tell you guys, like, you're literally the first people to see this is incredibly hot off the presses, right? We wanted to come to PAX with something rad and cool to show you guys. And I think that, yeah, like you and Corey and the rest of your team and everyone at Tripwire, you can definitely tell the things that we learned on building those maps early on, what this map would look like. So it really makes me excited for the future of KF3. Uh-oh. That flesh pound is not
with 9 left. Alright, I'm sure you guys are going to critique me. So before you do, come join me at the Alienware booth and do better than me. That's my challenge to you.
We've got this crazy machine. It's like killing floor 3 was kind of glitching out, and Horzine took over there, or maybe a few gremlins got in the mix. You saw a very early playtest video of a future map coming that is this jungle prison. It's this abandoned prison kind of in a rainforest that Horzine is using to kind of politely get information from enemies of the state. Some of them may have taken an acid bath there. One thing that's really important when creating something is, can I smell it? Like I usually know that I ask myself that, it's a good thing. And this goes for everything from enemies, like the Impaler, when I could smell his breath, I was like, just that, I feel that we're heading in the right spot. And when we started painting people in acid baths, I was like, I can smell that room, or imagine what it would smell like.
How was it?
Not great. Aggressive. So yeah, that's a fun thing for you guys now to think about. But then also exploring completely different parts of the globe, right? As we said, KF3, we wanted this idea of this dystopian future and how Horzine is growing in power. Where is Nightfall and the team going to be fighting Zeds? Once again, giant, nerdy, 40-something-year-old dad. I grew up watching John Carpenter's movies like religiously, and this is our love letter to The Thing and Outpost 31. You have some fun little facts about this one.
Yeah, a couple neat things with this is one, we've got our senior technical level designer, Michael Kissinger, has worked a lot on a dynamic weather system for this map to go in and out of having blizzards. So your visibility can be greatly reduced, kind of push you into some of the facilities and then open up again partway through waves. And then this map has been spearheaded by Jeremy Raymond, our senior level designer, and he was a big fan of the Outpost map in Killing Floor 2. So you'll see some inspiration from that.
I just want to throw out, for those who don't know, Michael Kissinger, you might know as Fell, for those of you who have been in the game community forever, and Chris Goodwin down there, Swift Brutal Death. That's how you might also know him, and it's fantastic.
Oh my god, it's him.
Yeah.
All right, real world guns. I felt really aggressive just showing a gun to a room full of people and being like, there it is, right? Basically, the goal is to give you guys as many tools as possible to kill shit with, right? We are making the game pretty damn difficult, and you're gonna need every tool possible, from new guns, various gadgets, tools, grenades, throwables. All of these are tools for you to fight Horzine back.
And don't forget the weapon mods that come with those new guns that completely change how many of them work, including the existing ones.
We didn't rehearse this part at all, so I'm gonna get a bunch of eyeballs, but the mod for this gun is actually a quad barrel as well. So that's pretty intense. I also saw an animation just beforehand, one thing new, like you'll remember this gun from KF2, but how do we make it even better for KF3? Like every little nut and bolt and inner chamber piece. So we can't wait for you guys to get your hands on these and kill monsters with them. And then obviously, if there's any DJ Scully fans out there, okay, that guy's ready for it. Awesome. Here's the thing, is bringing back fan favorites. Like if you guys read Mason and Matt, some of the team, they wrote up a little bit of a deep dive into Mr. Foster recently. If you check out our blog, you learn a little bit about Jason Fleming, this awesome actor.